All right, well now it's 10, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first of all, introductions. I'm Ariel Clay. I'm the San Joaquin 4-H program representative. So I'm not an IT person. I've just done a lot of tinkering on Sitebuilder, and I've been told that we've developed a pretty good website for San Joaquin County. So some people have asked to know how to make a few of the assets that we used, how we came up with our overall layout, that kind of thing. So that's what I'll be talking about today. We also have Susanna, if you want to introduce yourself.
Okay, I had to unmute myself again. This is Suzanne from the state office, and I do the state 4-H website. I'm working on creating more templates for the county sites, and actually we're looking at a major redesign of the state website as well as the resources site to split it up. Yeah, big announcement. So more on that coming soon. And we will be having the ANR site redesign coming up. So I've been talking with Ariel about that. So this is a partial step towards that. So hopefully this will help you feel excited about going in a new direction with the websites.
Okay, so since this webinar is recorded, I'm going to go relatively quick through the different steps that I'll be taking you through. If you do need me to slow down, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Suzanne, if you can kind of let me know if questions or comments pop up, that'd be great. So first up, we got to log on to our site. So hopefully you all have this in your portal. Whatever websites you have access to will be here under Sitebuilder 3.0. So I have access to the San Joaquin one. And this takes me to kind of what would you call this page? Dashboard. The dashboard. Right there, it says dashboard. Like I said, I'm not an IT person. So this is where you can actually make the changes to what your site looks like. So if we go to edit site pages, this shows all of the pages on my site. So this matches what my navigation bar would say. So I'll go ahead and show you what the site looks like. So this is a handy button that I didn't notice right away, a view current site. So it'll take you to the page that you have selected here. So right now I'm on my home page. So by clicking on view current site, it takes me to our home page. So just a little bit of why our page looks like this and kind of our thinking behind it was when I first inherited this website, you could tell that probably 10 different people over 10 years had been adding pages, and there hadn't really been a comprehensive view. Just things got slapped on there as they were needed. So fortunately, I had a couple of weeks over the summer where I didn't have much else going on. So I took a step back and kind of looked at what the experience was from the client's point of view. So for example, our left navigation right here had probably 3 times as many tabs. Which is really overwhelming when you're a new person in 4-H and you just want to know, how do I join, or where do I find resources? So it can be tempting to fill the left navigation with everything that you think people might want at one click. Like we used to have a tab right here for record books, because people ask a lot of questions about record books. But when you start filling up the left navigation, it becomes cluttered and really hard to navigate. Whereas if you have a few choices, people can be like, okay, I'm looking for record book information, looking at this, oh, it's probably under resources. So that's kind of the logic that we used when designing our left navigation. So you can see that on the dashboard, it matches here. And then if you want to start looking at more specific information, like our club page, oh, whoops, sorry, that was the wrong one. Misclick. There will be misclicks, I can guarantee that. You would just click on show, and then it shows the next level of web pages. So all of our current clubs, how to start a club, leadership roles, club program requirements. And then if there's even more beneath one of those pages, you would click show again. And this is all of our 4-H clubs in San Joaquin County. So you can see we've created a page for each of them. The red ones are deactivated clubs. So if I wanted to deactivate a club or deactivate a page, I would just click deactivate, and then it would show up as pink like this. And that's handy for if the club reactivates within a couple of years, I just reactivate them. So once again, if we want to see what this page we're on right now looks like, we would click View Current Site. Oh, why didn't that take me to where I thought it would be? Anyways, so I can go here this way. So when you click on our 4-H Club tab, it gives you a little bit of information about what a 4-H Club is and what are projects. We tried to keep this as short as possible. Suzanne often says when people come to a website, they're just looking for the gist and who they can contact to learn more. So honestly, I could probably make this even shorter, probably add even more pictures to make it more visually stimulating. But then if the next question people ask is, okay, where do I find out about clubs? We have a list of our current clubs, and I'll show you how to make this asset in a second. This is a map of where all of our clubs are actually located. And then below that, we have a table of all of those. So, and the numbers correspond to the numbers on the map. So if they see, okay, number 1 is really close to me. Oh, that's Alpine Victor. The person I would contact is Susan. That's our CCL. Which kind of brings me to another point, is really avoid jargon as much as you can on your website. So if I put community club leader, that doesn't necessarily mean anything to somebody who isn't initiated into 4-H. But if you put contact person, then everybody, regardless of how much 4-H experience they have, knows what that person's role is. That's the person I contact. If they are a 4-H alumni or 4-H member, they would probably infer, okay, that's probably the CCL or the volunteer enrollment coordinator. But really, when you're designing your website, especially anything about how to join or how to find a club, really avoid jargon as much as you can. Then as you can see, we have a page for each of our website, or for each of our clubs. And they can reach that club page either by clicking on the left navigation here, or on this direct link here. And once again, we kept it kind of short and simple. Some comments I've gotten on the club pages is, well, how about we try to have the project meeting times and information about the feel of the club and that kind of stuff. Those are all great ideas, but remember that you have to keep all of this current. So in my case, I kind of did a cost-benefit analysis, I guess you could say, of what could I realistically keep updated. And that was the basic meeting information and information about the club leader. And then their Facebook page. So if people want to know more about their day-to-day offerings and workings and activities, they would just click here and go to the club's Facebook page. And then the projects. So that's probably a good litmus test for a lot of people of what kind of club they'd be getting into. This one, I mean, it's got kind of the traditional projects that we think of, like lots of livestock, arts and crafts, but they also have several fitness projects. They go golfing, they have shooting sports, they do record keeping. So that gives people a good feel of, okay, I don't want to do livestock, but there is something here for me. So going back to the list of current clubs, probably the most excited people get when they look at, or other program reps get when they look at our website, is this map. People seem to love this map. And it's nice because it's done off of Google. So it's up to date and very interactive. And when you click on a tab, it tells you, I've set it up so that it tells you the club name, where they meet, and when their meetings are. And then they can even get directions immediately via Google. So I'll show you how to do this in a little bit. I am just kind of pointing out some stuff that we like about our website and want to share with you guys. So that's how we handle our club pages. How to join. So really when people are looking to how do I join 4-H or how do I re-enroll, you really want to make it as easy as possible. So you notice in the left navigation, this is the very next item after the homepage of if people are coming to your website to join 4-H, you want it to be immediately apparent how to do it. So the way we chose to set it up was have this kind of intermediary page where people would be, okay, what am I? Am I a youth member? Am I adult? Am I new? Am I returning? And then they would just simply click on that button and it would take them to the step-by-step of what they would individually need to do. Now, the slightly funny thing about this is the new adult volunteer and the returning adult volunteers take you to the same page. It's the page that Suzanne put together. But once again, you're trying to make it as user-friendly and as intuitive for your clientele, especially new people. And if you go back to the how to join 4-H, there were a couple of other items that we wanted to kind of make available, but not clutter the page, I guess you could say. So if people are interested about membership policies, like what are the deadlines, what are the different age groups, what are the enrollment fees, if we live in Stanislaus County but we want to participate in San Joaquin County, what do we need to do? All of that information is here, so people can find it easily if they need to, but they don't have to sort through it in order to get to the information about how to join. And then same thing for how to use 4-H online. We've got all of those instruction sheets and such here. Okay, events and calendars. I want to tinker a little bit with this one, but basically what I did is we have 3 buttons up here and it divides the type of events by level, I guess you could say. So we have our county events, we're in the central area, so central area events, and then state and national events with our calendar immediately below. So if people are just wondering what's coming up in the next week or two, they can see here. If they want to know specifically about, let's say, fashion review, then they would click on county event. And once again, we made some nice visual buttons. If you have Adobe Photoshop, Suzanne can give you the template for these. That was very nice and very helpful. So they could either find the picture associated with fashion review here, or they can find it on the left navigation. And once again, for trying to make it user-friendly and intuitive, especially for people who come to your website regularly to find information about things, it's good to kind of think about visual cues. So as people get familiar with your website, if you have kind of a consistent way of presenting information, they'll clue into that easily as time goes by. So for example, on our event pages, all of them at the top have a gold box here with the information about the current contest and those top 5 questions you always get of like, okay, when is it, where is it, who can join, is there a registration deadline, who do I contact, and then we have a general post-event evaluation. Russ Hill actually put this together for several of us, and it's applicable to any event. It's just general questions about, okay, what went well, what didn't. So it's putting at the front end of, okay, we want your feedback and here's how you can give it to us. Then in just kind of a general white box, we have our general information. So we have our fashion review flyer, which we hand out at events or have available wherever we go. And another handy thing I'll show you how to do is not just having it posted as a JPEG right here so that it's immediately visible. I'll show you how to click on it and then they get a PDF copy of it too. So an easy to print one. So if a club is like, oh, we want to put up flyers at our club meeting or our sewing project meeting, they can easily print them off from your website. Schedule, competition categories, and then at the bottom, the way I've done it is registration information, and it's always in a blue box. So like I said, as people get familiar with your website, they know, okay, registration will always be in blue. So if they just want to find that real quick, it's visually out there and prominent. But my reasoning on not having it up the top is I want them to at least scroll by the general information. And then we have a few other things at the bottom, like some resources. We require a certain number of judges be sent from each club for however many entries. So when we designed this, it was very much, okay, we want pictures wherever we can. We want it to be visually stimulating and not just a wall of text. So like I said, we do this format on every event page. So if you go to our food fiesta, same thing, gold box at the top, flyer, general information, and registration down here. Okay, trying to think of anything else I want to point out right away. So for when I first got this website, this tab right here that's now called Star Ranks Awards and Scholarship was called Incentives and Recognition. And once again, it's that jargon factor of people who have been in 4-H for a while usually understand the term incentives and recognition. We use it a lot. But for somebody new, that means absolutely nothing. So using kind of the keywords of ranks, awards, and scholarships, that tells them, okay, this is where that incentive and recognition stuff is without them having to know that exact term. So I used a slightly different button design, and you would click on all of these to get to all of these different areas. And then finally, our resources tab, once again, we used the Photoshop buttons with pretty much everything we could think of, like the branding and marketing information, a page for community club leaders. We're going to put together one for project leaders soon, food safety training, the record books, that new family guide that was recently published is right here, and if they click on it, they immediately get a PDF that they can print off.
Okay, sorry, a quick note on the new family guide. I was just told they took off the word new from it. For any family, because some people who don't consider themselves new but never had it are finding it useful.
Okay, so that would be a definition.
Just so you guys know, it's constantly being updated. Also on these buttons, if you want to get a copy of it, if you have Adobe Acrobat Pro, you may also be able to edit it within Acrobat Pro, where you can edit the text and the image.
And Suzanne has a very helpful template where basically you just put in the picture and then change the text and you're ready to go. So even if you're not very familiar with the program, I was able to figure it out within about 5 minutes. And like I said, I am not a tech person. So yeah, these are the Adobe buttons that you would need, the Adobe, what is it called again? Photoshop Pro?
If you want the photo editing software, it's Photoshop.
Photoshop, yeah.
Otherwise, if you have Acrobat Pro, which if you don't have it in your office, I highly recommend it. It's not Acrobat Reader, it's Acrobat Pro, which allows you to make forms, combine PDFs, edit PDFs, and I highly recommend it because then you can edit the PDFs to edit the pictures and the text in it. So you could edit these buttons and put in a different picture or put in different text.
Yeah, and as you can see, it just makes the page look so much nicer than just having a page of links. If you want something in the meantime before you have the software that she was just talking about, these I actually made just using Publisher. So I can walk you guys through that real quick today, so that you can immediately put on something if you want, and then you can do something a little fancier later if you want. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick walkthrough of what our page looks like, some of the logic we used when putting it together. You'll notice in the left navigation we decided to group things mostly by delivery type. So we start with our 4-H clubs, which are our most popular option, of course. Countywide projects, which includes some of our new spin projects. So for our existing membership, they're used to the countywide terminology, so we're keeping that for now. We'll probably transition later. After school programs, camp programs, a page for our county council, and then once again, our incentive and recognition, and then resources. And finally, a link that would take you back to the general cooperative extension San Joaquin page.
So Ariel, we have a question in the chat. Susanna wants to know who generates those nice flyers for each event, the volunteers or staff?
For the most part, I've been making them, but if you want to encourage your volunteers to start taking on that load, Suzanne actually provides a really nice set of templates. If you go to the state website, I'll show you guys the branding toolkit real quick. And the branding toolkit, I mean, I've used so much. Let's see, where did it go on here? Oh, there it is. Okay. So the branding toolkit is just really helpful in general. So if you're looking for information about the campaigns, they're all here. Specific to your question about the flyers, if you scroll down to the bottom, there are various templates. So there are some for your clubs, so you can share this with them. So they have event flyer templates, letterhead, all of that. The ones that I've been using are the county templates. And let's just click on event flyer 3. I forget which one's which, but if you just pull it up. Yeah. Sorry, I'm on my, oh, dang it. I'm on my husband's tablet, so I'm trying not to download new software onto it. But you saw it there for a second. That was a Word file template. So you just literally replace the information with your events info. The pictures at the top you can replace very easily. But all of them have that very nice polished look to them and contains all of the elements that are really required. So like the full 4-H Clover and UC A&R logo, so you wouldn't have to download this and insert it yourself. It would already be on there. It uses the correct colors and fonts. Let's see, most importantly, and the thing that often gets forgotten, the wheelchair and compliance stuff. There it is, accessibility. So it has that icon already on there, along with the statement about, yeah, the non-discrimination statement. Here we go, right here. So yeah, the templates I definitely encourage you to get familiar with and download and share with your volunteers so that they're not having to make it from scratch. And I mean, let's face it, most of us don't have a design background, so we don't intuitively know what will turn out looking good. So the templates are just really, really helpful.
Ariel, this is Valerie in Solano County. I just have 2 questions. So, and maybe you're going to cover this. And I love your website. I like all the pictures. I think that really helps people because they don't want to read anything. So is the website cell phone friendly for people trying to look at information on their cell phone on your website, as well as are the links? Because that's a complaint that I have from people right now.
Oh, that they have trouble viewing it
Yeah.
on their cell phones? Huh.
Yeah. And I just don't know if it's maybe out of date phones or what the situation is.
Well, Sitebuilder is supposed to be mobile friendly.
Okay.
So if you pull it up on Sitebuilder, usually what'll happen, like if you pull up this main page,
Uh-huh.
it'll just have this on the main screen, and then as you scroll down, like our mission statement, core values, the contact information.
Straight down. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see
Okay.
if we can squish the page down.
And is there?
Yeah,
is
so
there,
you see how it kind of does that?
uh-huh.
This is what it would look like on a phone.
Okay. And so I don't know if it's, yeah, exactly. And that's what it does on my phone too, if ours does. I'm not sure what people's issue is. And then the other question is there, and maybe Suzanne has this information. I noticed that you were talking about you always put some information in a blue box and some in a gold box. Is there any research or information we should be following for like visual accessibility for people if we have people who have problems seeing things? Is there a preferred background that we should be using or font color or anything like that?
I'll let Suzanne answer that.
Yes, there is. So for ADA compliance, it is recommended to have highly contrasting colors.
Okay.
For web viewability, it's not recommended to have too much on light on dark. So if you're going to put light text on dark backgrounds, do it like how Ariel has done it, where it's not too much, it's not text heavy.
Okay.
It's on our homepage.
Okay.
If you have a lot of text, put it on a lighter background. So you can use, for example, we have white, the plain white background, light, or there's also Centennial.
Okay.
I use those the most. The gold isn't it's not contrast enough. It's similar to using the blue.
Okay.
So that is also hard on the eyes.
Okay. Okay.
So also something to use for minimal text. So maybe for a button.
Okay.
Or for something that is just going to pop to say register here, or
Okay.
you know, something that you just want to pop information.
Right, right. Because if we're going to we just had to redo our whole website when we, within the last year for Capital Corridor branding. So if we're going to make other changes, we want to do it right the first time.
Yeah, and as far as checking to see if your site is ADA compliant or if it's mobile friendly, older versions of Sitebuilder, you had the option of not choosing a mobile friendly site. So you can go into Sitebuilder, go into your administrative properties,
Okay.
go into your site properties,
Okay.
site info and appearance,
Okay.
and you should be able to choose there. You can choose if it's a mobile friendly format. And I think most of our sites are. We did a quick audit.
Okay.
And I think maybe there were maybe 4 that were not.
Okay.
So
that's great information.
Should be. And how you can also check is how you have it laid out. So the way you have your text boxes laid out on your site, if you have tables, if you have your images set up in a table or your data set up on a table, tables are not mobile friendly.
Okay.
So as much as tables look nice on a desktop and they make your icons and your data align, it is not mobile friendly because it does not resize for your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of see, I need to go back and change this. This is in a table. So you can see no matter how wide it is, it stays in that configuration. Where if I use left justification, which will make sense in a few minutes when I show you how to do it, the branding would basically move to the top, community club leader would move on the bottom, and they would stay this size.
Right.
So they would be easy to see, whereas how I have it now, when, oh well, you see what I mean though.
Right. I think tables are intuitive to use because you want it to visually look correct, but it's not, friendly to look at. Okay.
That used to be the way we would lay out websites, but with mobile and different screen sizes.
Right.
Recommend for when you're laying it out, do left justified or right justified so that things will justify next to each other.
Okay.
And as far as laying out in Sitebuilder also. So instead of having just one giant text box,
Mm-hmm.
you might lay it out where you have several text boxes so that your text boxes will show up one after the other.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, and before I go into how to make assets, just pointing out a couple of other fun ones that we've added to our front page. You can embed videos in Sitebuilder very easily. So this is the general 4-H marketing one. So you can just hit play and it can play small like that, or if they hit full screen, then they see it in its full glory. And then my approach on the homepage is there should be something for new people, so they can see this video right away. They can see some of the things that are going on in our county. I like using the left navigation. It just works for me. You can also have the yellow bar at the top, which is top navigation, whichever works for you. But choose one or the other. It gets very, very confusing and unintuitive if you have both a left navigation and a top navigation. People are wondering which one trumps the other, that kind of thing. So choose one or the other. But another thing I try to always have on the front page is, okay, for people who have been in the program for a long time, I want to give them an incentive to come and visit the page fairly regularly. So like we have this featured item, which probably changes every week or two to be our upcoming event, like summer camp. Our registration closed on Monday. So that was our big feature here for the last week or two. We also have a blog feed. So I'll write a short blog article, and I have it set up so that it'll show up here on the right side of the page. And then I also link them to our Facebook page. So that's Facebook content as well. And then for people who are looking for information about 4-H, so like reporters or schools or people who are looking for kind of, okay, what is the model of 4-H, I guess you could say. We have our mission statement and kind of a little bit more about our values and kind of our education model here below. But you notice that you have to scroll down a little bit. We really decided to focus on, okay, what would a 4-H member or their family really want to see when they first arrive on the page? Okay, so that was a lot of just kind of familiarizing you guys with our site and kind of some of the things we do.
Okay, I'm just gonna chime in a little bit. So what Ariel just shared is awesome because it's still in keeping with what we thought on the top margin, where you see that at the top is what most people are looking at on your site. What we used to think of as we don't want anything down below the fold, as they say, what you see on the screen, because people don't scroll down, has changed, because now people do more scrolling since more people are accessing the web on their phones. But the idea of above the fold is still important. You can still put a lot more content down below now though. So don't feel afraid to have a longer homepage like she does now. That's a new thing. That is a new style now versus before we'd have another page and then another page and then another page. Now the new style is to have a longer page and have all the information on one page versus 10 different pages that has all of that information. So this is actually a more current style, and I just wanted to reiterate that this is currently in current style. That is the trends right now.
Yay, I'm doing something right. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I actually make this stuff? I'll take you guys through some of the assets. Another question I often get is, can I steal from your page? Feel free. I don't care. You can take stuff wholesale, take little bits and pieces. I absolutely do not mind people taking stuff from this website and putting it on other county websites. Okay, so we're going to go to add a new page. So basically we're going to make a temporary kind of testing page where we'll work from. So we'll call it testing. Yeah, we'll have this parent page be added to the left navigation, so it'll show up on that left side temporarily. And would I like it to be immediately active? Sure. If you're working on a big overhaul of your site, you can always put no, and then it won't show up right away and people won't see it before it's ready. I figure we won't confuse anybody too much over the next 20-25 minutes if I have an extra page on my site. So we'll just have it active. Okay, so this is the properties section of the dashboard. So this shows basically what the layout of the page is going to be and that kind of thing. So the page name, what the direct link to it would be, if I want to move the page. So if later I decide, okay, I don't want this to be a parent page with where it shows up on the left navigation right away, I can move it anywhere else. So if I decide, okay, it should be under county council, then I would click here and it would automatically move it over to being a child of the county council parent page. Then we have our content layout templates. Let's just go ahead and do this one for now. So basically it splits it into two columns, kind of like what we have on our home page. And then you can play around a little bit with how wide each of those columns is going to be. So right now it's just 50-50. We'll go ahead and do 65-35. So the left column is going to be a little bit wider than the right column. I usually just leave it on the, oops, where did my mouse go? There we go. I usually just leave it on site default. I'm a little scared of select custom. I think that's a little beyond my my speed. Once again, site default for language. If you decide to have Spanish pages on your site, definitely use the language option. I don't know if Suzanne has something to say about language. Okay, no, she doesn't. Review level, this is more for our academics. So if they had a site with data and research papers and that kind of thing, they could put whether it's been peer reviewed, that kind of thing. Usually we don't care for a normal county 4-H page, so you can leave it at none. Ratings, I've never really used them, but if you want to pilot something, you can always get that built-in feedback. And display last update is really handy for like your enrollment pages, maybe even your event pages. So people can see, okay, is this actually current? And then it'll just show down here at the bottom of the page when it was last updated. Left navigation, you can hide it or have it visible. If you are using left navigation as your way of having people navigate the page, you'll want it visible. If you're using top navigation, so that gold bar at the top, you'll want to hide it so that you're not repeating content or confusing people. Inactive page message, we won't need that. This bit right here is really handy for searches and making sure that you show up when people do Google or other type of search engine type things. Any keyword you have up here, so like 4-H youth, positive youth development. If anybody Googles for that, it'll cause your page to show up higher, is my understanding. I don't know if
This should be like phrases or words that they would use to find the page that you're creating. Not just your whole site, just that page. So it could be, if this is the page for enrollment, say, so it'll be about enrollment, youth enrollment, enrolling in camp, enrolling in 4-H clubs, how to enroll a new member, how to join 4-H. So it can be those kind of phrases. And then you can go to description. And the description there would be like the little description you see in Google after it finds a search. That's the description that it would show. So that little description that tells you what the page is about.
Okay, so if nothing else, at least make sure you do these two. Honestly, I haven't really done much with these other ones. Maybe
I've tested those other ones. I'm not seeing any difference. I'm still testing it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then Twitter handle, I always just put in San Joaquin 4-H. We don't have an overly active Twitter, but it doesn't hurt to put it in there. And then old URL. So if you're doing a major revamp of your page, and you want to make sure that you don't have broken links, you can always put in the old address for a page if you're moving into a new spot. And then this is super handy whenever you're putting together flyers or other written pieces of information. This is a mini URL. So if you were to look at one of my flyers that I briefly showed you earlier, I don't have this I don't have this website address. I have this one because it will always just be that short. Basically just the number changes at the end. So it's much easier for if people get a written or a hard copy of a flyer and you say, go here to register. Instead of having to type in 50 characters, they're typing in maybe a dozen here. And then if you're really tech savvy and you want to use QR codes, there's one here, and one here. Okay. Update properties. So that's basically the property pages. All right, and now we're going to start adding stuff. So we're going to add assets. So info about Sitebuilder. All right, and we'll start really easy. The one that you're going to be using the most is going to be your text box. Okay, and I'm just going to put in a few lines of gibberish. Okay, so the default, how it's going to look is this. So always remember to click Update Asset. If it doesn't show up on your page, it means you forgot to click Update Asset. Okay, so now on the content page for this, we now have this one asset, info about Sitebuilder. And I'm going to close a couple of things real quick. And then view current site. Okay, so it worked this time. So using the defaults, this is how your textbook will look. It has the title at the top and then your written content. So we talked a bit about like using colors to make things pop. Those different colors are these right here, light blue, gold, and Centennial. Centennial is really nice for big text box in my opinion. I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see it just adds a little more color, but you still have that nice white background for large text items. So the title is in blue, it's got a little bit of gray around it. I just like having that little bit of extra color. All right, so if you want to add more, so for instance, let's add, yeah, picture. I'll show you guys how to do that thing where I put in a flyer. So if I browse, I was sure to just save my entire desktop onto a flash drive. All right, let's pretend we're doing fashion review again. Just keep using that example. So right here is the fashion review flyer PDF. So I've imported it in now.
One other thing is I recommend loading up PDFs versus Word files, because PDFs, anyone can view it from any device, versus a Word file where you'd have to have the program in order to view the file. So whenever you upload a document, just make it a PDF.
Okay, so when you insert a PDF, it'll show the file right there. You can copy and paste it there, or you can just click insert file wherever you want it in and update the asset. Then it shows up as a link. So if you click on this, it would take you to that PDF that they can print off. So this is how you would embed a PDF into like a paragraph. So if I wanted to say, like, put before here, please see the 2018 Fashion Review flyer for more information. That's how you would put that in. But if you want to have the picture involved with it too, so that they can see it and then they can download it, the way I do that is I also have that same flyer saved as a PNG file. You can use PNG, JPEG, whatever works best. Suzanne can probably speak better about why PNG is preferable to PDFs if she wants to.
Well, if it's a PNG file, then you can view it on the web as a picture. A PNG file is also clearer online than a JPEG. A JPEG cannot be resized other than the size that it already is without losing quality. I highly recommend anything you use as much as possible, use PNG over JPEG.
Yep. And so as for how you make the PNG of this, if you make a document in Word or in Publisher, it gives you the option of saving as a PNG. There have been times when I just have a PDF of something, and the way that I save it as a PNG is I actually will take a screenshot of my desktop and then crop the image to just be the flyer. So there are ways to make pictures of all of what you're going to be using.
Or it'll also say export as
Yes.
PNG or export to web.
Yeah, like I said, not a tech person. I'm sure there are lots of easier ways to do stuff. Okay, so this is our PNG of that Fashion Review flyer. So this is the description. Since we're kind of using it as a button to a PDF, in description, I would put link to PDF of 2018 Fashion Review flyer. Okay, and then the original size is really big. We're going to need to shrink this down probably to about 350 pixels wide. This is where you mess with alignment, so we'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit. For this, we're going to keep it centered. And then these three options right here, if you use a caption, like if we clicked the caption option, then the description would show up as a caption underneath the photo. A border is just that, it's basically a white border. Thumbnails I don't really use too much, but if I remember correctly, it's just a smaller version of the photo, right? Yeah. Okay, and now here's the cool part. Which I'm going to need to go back and copy and paste in here. Or wait, no, I can do it from here. So this was a PDF file that we uploaded. If I copy that and I put it in the link, now it will link it to that photo to that PDF. If you're making a button for your website, like that 4-H Mall button I had, I would put the address for that 4-H Mall website here. And then when people would click on the picture, it would take them to that website. So that's how we make buttons or these pictures that turn into the PDF. It cuts it off right here. I don't know why.
I think
That's Sitebuilder since they redid it.
Yeah.
One last thing, whenever you're adding an image in Sitebuilder, always have the description because that's what's going to make it ADA compliant. So if someone cannot view the image, it'll give them what the description of the image is.
And I'll show you how that looks in just a second. So this right here says update, this says cancel. I just know that, so we're going to update. Okay, so that just updated this file right here. We're going to need to update the asset as a whole by clicking here. All right, and then we refresh. We refresh.
Did you put it in your?
Oh, whoops! I didn't actually put it in the. Okay. Also, so you can put stuff in your library and it'll go from there. Or I forgot to actually insert the file right here to put it on the page. I do this all the time where I'm like, why didn't that work? Yep. So update assets. Okay, now if we refresh, there we go. So you can see we have that PNG image, and if we hover over it, now it has the description there. Whoops, sorry, I moved. So a link to PDF of 2018 Fashion Review Flyer. For the ADA compliance, as Suzanne was saying, if people can't view that, it would read out that description to them, so they would be like, oh, okay, I want to click on that if I want to see get the PDF. And then as you can see, this is our flyer using the lovely template. Okay. Now, changing stuff around format-wise is really easy. So if we decided, okay, we don't want this on the left side, you literally just click the button and it moves it over there. And you can see that if I did that, I'd need to resize things, which is easy to do. You just go back into the asset and change stuff. Okay, let's add another asset. I want to make sure that I show you guys how to do the map, because people really do seem to like that. So the map is, where did it go? GIS map. So you save it. Whoop. I did choose the right one, didn't I? I might not be able to show this to you guys after all right now. Okay, well, it looks like something is going on with the map asset. So I will show you how to embed video. So you choose the iframe asset, and then you save it. Okay, once again, you'll want to choose the appropriate asset name. And we're going to find a video on YouTube. This looks fun. Infinity War cast reacts to fan tweets. So we'll just, whoop, we'll pull that up. Okay, it doesn't really matter what video it is. Okay, so let's see. It's been a little while since I've done this. Maybe this doesn't allow embedding. Here, I'll look for a 4-H video. Okay, so let's go into this Aubrey one. Oh, this is a Late Show one. Sorry, just trying to find a video that will be transferable. Okay, here's the 4-H cheerleader one. If we can't move this one, then there's something wrong. Okay. Okay, here we go. So it will allow you to share. So if you wanted to post it to Facebook or whatever, here it is. If you want to embed it in a website, then you want to go to Embed. And it will give you all of this information. So the way Sitebuilder works, you don't copy all of this. What you want is what's in between these two quotation marks. If you put in the rest of it, it actually won't work. So you'll just copy and then paste. And this will mess around with the size of it and all of that. We won't do that for now. And then update asset. And we'll move that over to the side. And hopefully this worked. It's been a little while since I've done a I'm going to change the sizing a little bit, see if that helps. What am I doing? Okay, there it is. It just wasn't wanting to be in that narrow column there. And now it's really tiny because I changed the size. But you can see the video is now here. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Take it back to what it originally was. Okay, so that's how you embed video, is using iframe and then making sure that when you find the video on YouTube, only take the address that's within the quotation marks. You don't need the other stuff about the frame width and all of that. So any questions about video, if people want to type in or put something in the chat box. Okay. All right, the other asset I wanted to show you is the blog. Because the blog really is handy. It's a good way for you to talk about what you're doing currently, or even ask 4-H members and volunteers to submit articles, and then you can post it easily on your website. So all of this you can basically leave as is. And then this is what I end up changing the most. If your homepage changes and you want to show more or less blog entries, you can change the number of blog posts, number of characters to display. So if we go to the homepage, right now it's showing the first 255 characters. If you want to make it longer or shorter, you would change it there. And then update asset. Oh, and here's the list of blogs that you would choose from. So these are all of the blogs that are available to you. Most of them you don't really need access to.
Make sure you pick.
Yeah.
Make sure you pick California 4-H Grown, and if you have stories from your county, I will tag your county. So make sure you to submit stories from your county.
So I just have that there. So click to add. So that's there. I wonder if mine shows up on here. San Joaquin County 4-H. Yep. So that's our blog. So right now we have 2 blogs selected. I don't think we need to hit update or anything. Nope. That's just there. Update asset. And go back to our testing page. Okay, and you can see now the blog is there. So you can tinker around with the settings. As I said, apparently I didn't activate, or there aren't pictures associated, or I activate that option. So the nice thing about Sitebuilder is it is pretty easy to just kind of tinker around and see what happens. It's pretty hard to actually blow up a website. So as long as you kind of keep track of what you're clicking on, I would encourage you to tinker and explore. So that takes us to about 11 o'clock. Are there any specific questions that people have about anything they've seen, or things I didn't cover?
Okay, I did add in the blog that I'll share the button templates and instructions with when the webinar recording is shared. But if you need it right away, please feel free to email me. Another note regarding the map that Ariel shared, please make sure your county information for your clubs and your camps is updated in 4-H Online, as noted in a past newsletter by Whitney and on a virtual brown bag. A&R will be using that information from 4-H Online to populate a map on their homepage, so they can show where 4-H is in every county. And if it's not up to date, it's not going to be current. So please make sure your county information is correct. Ariel, there's a question. Ariel, you said some of the buttons created are in Publisher.
Oh, yes. So I can actually pull that up, hopefully. Yeah, I can make those available pretty easily. Yeah, I don't have the template immediately available right here. But yeah, basically you make a shape in Publisher, fill it in with a color, and then type on top of it, and you can paste a picture on it. I'll make that available though. With the recording, I think we can attach it to it. I'll follow up with Charles about that. Yeah, because I didn't quite get to walking you guys through that, but like I said, for making a button like this Donate Now button, I made this button in Publisher, and then when I imported the PNG of it, I put the link to the foundation, I believe is where that goes right now. Oh, apparently I need to update the link on there. But same thing for our Facebook page. We have a button right here, and then it takes you directly to the Facebook page because I copied this link and then pasted it onto that button. So it's very, very easy to make buttons.
So I did want to also let you guys know one more feature that you didn't go through. If you want to keep your club pages up to date with current information, you can put their Facebook feed on their pages.
Oh, that's true.
So you can put social media as one of the, instead of a text box, you can put a social media feed, just like how you put in a video feed or you can put in a map. You can also put in social media and you can enter their Facebook account. And you can select how many entries it's going to show. So that might be a good way to show your clubs and what the flavor of their club is without you having to update it regularly. It's up to them to keep that updated, and their historian.
Okay, so that asset would be the social media one right here, correct? Okay. Yeah, so I believe that's a new asset. Definitely tinker around with that. One final bit of information, I believe Suzanne mentioned that UCNR is currently trying to update the image of our website. So our websites look a little dated, just the way Sitebuilder creates or is visually outdated, I guess you could say. It doesn't look modern and polished and that kind of thing. So IT is working on that. Just to put you guys at ease, you're not going to have to completely recreate your websites. Basically, there will be a button where you say, okay, move to the new site builder, and it'll move your assets automatically into that new format. So you won't have to build from scratch. You may see once it gets moved over that it looks a little, that there are better ways you can move around your information or whatever. So you can tinker and polish, but you won't have to completely recreate. Okay, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I don't know if Suzanne has anything else. Okay, and if you ever have any questions about website stuff, I know Suzanne's always available, and feel free to contact me too. Once again, I'm Ariel Clay with San Joaquin 4-H. All right, well, I think that does it for the webinar. Thank you for coming.